What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 7th day of the year, and here we are with about 9 hours, 40 minutes left in the day, sitting at $91,500. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Here we are. It's Wednesday, the 7th, and we are down, basically engulfing the price action that we saw on the 5th here. It's basically the same candle, but to the downside instead of to the upside. No wick either. Wow, no wick at all. We just opened up today and decided to plummet, it seems. Let's look at this on the short-term stuff, then we'll zoom out. I have a strong belief that relative to this range, come on, I am drawing. I swear I'm drawing, but it's not letting me. I'm trying to. There we go. Relative to this range here, I would expect that we break out to the upside. We break out to the upside. Now, we are pulling back. We did find resistance at the areas that we expected to find resistance because we found resistance here before. Might we find support at prior resistance here at levels that we found support at before even? Might we find support back here, get a pullback if we take a relative low to a relative high? Let's get the actual high there. Could we pull back to the 382? That's actually a pretty area to pull back to and find support at. Are we going to find support right here at the 236? It looks like low to high right here. There's plenty of reasons to find support here. There's plenty of reasons to go down. Let's get into the short-term stuff and we'll figure it out. But again, overall, we are in this range, right? We are rejecting the top of it. I don't expect that we're going to come to the bottom of this range. I expect that we'll just consolidate here before breaking out to the upside. That's the expectation. At least at the moment, that's the expectation. Let's look at the 1 hour and then we'll zoom out. 1 hour time frame here. A lot of volume coming in on this drop, but a lot of volume on the pump back up as well. I mean, that's just you gave it up and you got it back, and now we're dumping here with less volume. So I don't think that this move persists too much to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised if we did go lower, but do keep in mind Bitcoin's been very tricky. Right? It's kind of funny that from this high here, as soon as we got above this high, just barely, that's when we dumped. And then as soon as we got above this high, just barely, that's when we dumped. And as soon as we got above this high, right here, just barely, we barely got above that high at all. That's whenever we dumped. Bitcoin's been very tricky. I wouldn't be surprised if we did the same thing, but to the downside. As soon as we get below this low, that's when we pump, right? Something like that could very well happen. If we look at this on the 1 hour, and we're looking at our indicators, the RSI is bearish, the stochastics are bearish, and the MACD is bearish as well, building bearish momentum. So I don't think that we move up from here. I do think that we go lower. I am under the impression that this low does not prevail. What might make the most sense to find support at, right? We tried to find support here and failed. Didn't happen. A little bit, momentarily, but nope, not really. We found resistance there. We could find support here at prior support or prior resistance there. But if we're zooming out a little bit more, it seems as though there's a lot more significance right here in this kind of area where there's resistance, resistance, resistance right there. I mean, even going back here, there's some resistance and resistance right there. We could take this line further back to like right here, all this resistance that's met right here at about $90,400. That makes sense to me. We take the low to the high of this Fibonacci retracement, and that puts us right at the 0.5. Bitcoin throughout this whole cycle has been finding a lot of support on its 0.5, and right below there is this line that makes sense to find support on based off of significant prior resistance, right? And if we don't find support at the 0.5 at $90,600 or thereabouts, maybe we go a little bit lower to 89.7K, which is the golden ratio itself, or somewhere in that realm. So a little bit lower. Let's throw a fib extension on here. From a low to a high. Come on. The 1272 is right there, and the golden ratio is on top of the golden ratio. So this didn't help at all. It just reinforces the idea that this 90.6 to 89.7K area will likely provide support. And until we go down there, we will be moving down. Whether it's fast, whether it's super slow, however it is, we're going to be moving down there. And I would assume 90.6 to 89.7K to find support, okay? 4 hour time frame. And I want to be clear too, because I've kept up with a couple of people who are bigger names in the space than me. I will leave them nameless just because I'm not trying to start a war or a battle or anything, but there are some people out there with large accounts who think that this is a bull trap, that this is a bull trap here. And if it were a bull trap, in my experience, typically bull traps, whenever they break, they dump off pretty hard, right? Like they dump off pretty hard. Like this was a bull trap, right? Like they're a little bit faster, and we're pretty close time wise to this high, so maybe the sell off hasn't happened yet. I don't assume this to be a bull trap. If this were a bull trap here, that would imply then that we're breaking out and seeing lower prices. We're breaking out of this range to the downside. I don't see that happening. And that thought is reinforced again. That's somewhat validated by the notion, by the fact that we're not dumping off fast. If this was a bull trap, where's the trap? How come the trap's been set, but we're not pulling the trap? Maybe it just hasn't pulled yet. I don't know. We'll see. 4-hour time frame here. The RSI is very bullish overall. Absolutely extraordinary. And while you have broken out of this little trend momentarily here, let's just see if you're still upholding this trend here. This is what we were looking for, right? Is that you could come all the way back down to this level and find support and then move up, and you're still in this uptrend here with these higher lows and higher highs, this trend that you've been in for a little while now. And on top of that, that's support right around the 40. It makes sense that you'd find support around here. Can we go lower? Can we break this trend and still prevail to the upside? Absolutely, absolutely we can. But I'm expecting that we will find support somewhere around here. So watch for that. If you have your 4-hour RSI out, connect these dots from the 1st of December to the 14th of December, and that might be a point at which we find a local bottom, a local low. Stochastics are reset effectively, right? They've been overbought, and this was a very strong reading, and now we're reset. What we want to see, let's see. What we want to see is maybe a reaction like this, right? Where like you're getting overbought, it's nice, you're dwelling up here, but the amount of oversold that you have is very short-lived, and you're back to getting overbought. This didn't promote great results, but we did technically get a higher high with that move, right? The point being, the less time that we spend down here and the more time that we spend up here, the better for the price action, right? So we want to see a quick reaction soon. We can go lower. The orange line is not oversold yet. The blue line is. We probably do go a little bit lower, but then again, once we find our low, once we find our support, we don't want to be doing stuff like this. We want to be doing stuff like this. We want to be bouncing out of here, whoops, and moving with a pretty good velocity. The MACD is crossed red, and it's on the 4-hour. That's okay. The fact that it's crossed red is not bearish. The oscillators are up, right? They're above the zero line. These oscillators here, the orange and the blue. So crossing red, coming back to the zero to kind of reset yourself, that's pretty normal, pretty common. It's not a problem. You've actually built a lot of bearish momentum here. You see how the MACD is saying that we've got the highest levels of bearish momentum that we've seen since the 16th of December, and we haven't done much, right? From the 16th of December to get to these levels in the MACD, you had to drop all this way, all basically like all this way here, where here you've gotten to that same level and you really haven't done much at all, right? That doesn't mean that this is stronger. That means this is weaker. That means you're giving stronger readings to the downside and getting weaker moves to the downside. That means you have less strength as a bear. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. In other words, lower lows in the indicator with higher lows in the price, that's hidden bullish divergence. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. So bullish overall, still acceptable to pull back from here. So nothing that disagrees with that 90,600 to 89.7K area. Daily time frame, you got into the overbought zone, you got out of it, assuming that today closes here or lower, you got in and out right there. So reset. Whenever you have these kind of reactions, whenever you have this type of interaction, what you'll look for is support either at the 60 or at the 50. I would assume we go down to the 50. We draw these lines here from this low, connecting the dots here. I mean, if we were to go down to the 50, that's really not a problem, is it? That's not that big of a deal at all. And I mean, we could see that happen. It's the 7th now. This could take, I mean, that the line right here intersects the 50 on the 12th to the 13th. So I mean, it could be another 5 or 6 days that we're consolidating. I don't know if it'll take that long, but it could be, right? I know it's exciting. We've been moving up for the last 5 or 6 days. It's nice to see. If we spend another 5 or 6 days kind of consolidating in this area, that's okay. And then we can break out later in the month, maybe in the second half of the month or something like that. We can be breaking out to the upside here. That was the original thought to begin with. Whenever we started this month, when we were at the end and the middle of December even, we thought that we'd break out of this range probably around the 20th of January. It's looking like it'll happen before the 20th, but still, we're getting pretty close to that time. And while I do expect a little bit more consolidation to happen, I do expect us to find support at prior areas of resistance. I would say that we're not in any shape at the moment to press higher immediately. It probably will take a little bit of time to consolidate, but it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 days. You know, as far as timing goes, it's kind of up in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if this touched back to this area and then the recovery was faster than people are expecting. I don't expect that we will be in this range past the 20th. At this point, I don't even expect that we'll be in this range past the 15th, but we'll see. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? What we're looking for when we break out is an increase in volume. When we broke out here, broke out of this little channel, this bear flag as people were calling it, we knew it wasn't a bear flag because the way that you broke out, there's just no volume at all. If you're breaking out and your volume is decreasing, that's not good. You don't want that. We want to break out, we want the volume to increase. It can be smaller than this, it can decrease relative to that high, but relative to these levels of volume here, if we're increasing in volume as we're breaking out of this zone specifically to the upside, that's what we need to see to validate that we are breaking out. To validate that we're not just doing more of this stuff where we get slightly higher highs and then we just pull back. The expectation that I have when we do break out to the upside is that, you know, maybe we stop in this area. I feel like a lot of people are paying attention to this area. I feel like a lot of people and analysts have their eyes on this zone here where we found support before. Support back here. Resistance, support, resistance. I feel like this is a very obvious zone, and therefore I don't think that we're going to stop here. I think we're going to surpass it. This will generate some euphoria and some FOMO, just a little bit higher, and then we find resistance. And then we get some volatility, and then we continue to build. I don't expect this to be an easy ride to the upside, but it should be fun nonetheless. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.